Hi guys, so on Sunday Jacob Rees-Mogg appeared on the Andrew Neil show where he was challenged on what the government is doing to help the poorest in society, and his response was the typical Tory talking points about universal credit tapers and how the government is spending more than before. But the reality is quite different for many, and instead of going forward, the Tories are taking Britain backwards. On Monday, a number of news outlets ran the terrible story about how more than 2 million adults have gone without food for a whole day during the month of April. This is due to the cost of living crisis. In the first 3 months of 2021, the number of households cutting back on food jumped 57%. This comes as Britain's biggest energy suppliers called for urgent government action to help households cope with the expected £1,000 rise in bills later this year. A perhaps expected result of high energy bills has been increased fire risks. The London Fire Brigade issued an urgent safety warning against fires at home following a fire at one man's house where he tried to burn timber in order to keep warm. But it isn't just adults. 2.6 million children are either reducing portions, skipping meals, or going without food for a whole day, according to research by the Food Foundation think tank. The organisation compared this with what was happening during the pandemic, but back then there was a lack of food due to panic buying or supply chain issues. Now it is the cost of living crisis. Food banks have already been reporting that energy costs are so high for some people they have requested that charity parcels do not contain food that has to be cooked using a cooker or needs to be stored in a freezer or fridge. The Food Foundation said it was so shocked by its initial findings that it re-ran the survey on a wider basis, only to get the same results. With inflation expected to hit 10% later this year, the Food Foundation believes that the situation will worsen later in the year, and we are yet to see the full impact of April's national insurance rise hitting families' budgets, along with the lifting of the energy price cap. In response to all of this, a government spokesperson said, and I quote, "We recognise the pressures on the cost of living, and we are doing what we can to help, including spending £22 billion across the next financial year to support people with energy bills and cut fuel duty. For the hardest hit, we're putting an average of £1,000 more per year into the pockets of working families on universal credit, have also boosted the minimum wage by more than £1,000 a year for full-time workers, and our household support fund is there to help with the cost of everyday essentials. People I've spoken to have told me that in order to get some of this support, you have to negotiate with the staff at the Department of Work and Pensions. It seems what support is available, the government is not encouraging or making it easy for people to access. But according to charities, think tanks and food banks, whatever support is available is having a very limited impact, if zero impact at all, on helping the most vulnerable in society deal with the cost of living crisis. Things are sadly expected to worsen over the next 6 to 12 months before they do improve, but when they do, it will still be a massive struggle for those at the sharp end of this crisis. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.